I'm joined now by political analyst Eric Ham in Columbia, South Carolina. So, Eric, was Nikki Haley ever really in with a chance here?
No, she wasn't. In fact, we have been knowing for weeks that Donald Trump was leading in the polls here by as many as 20 points. And we see tonight he actually matched that spread, winning. Now, Donald Trump does have some major red flags that are not being discussed. The first and foremost is that Donald Trump has actually underperformed the polls in every early election contest so far, from Iowa to New Hampshire and even here in South Carolina. We see the numbers where Donald Trump was expected to win by larger margins and he did not. And so that should be a major concern for Donald Trump. Not only that, but also the fact that Donald Trump continues to be outraised by Nikki Haley. And we know Joe Biden is already breaking records in his fundraising as well. So while both of these candidates are now moving on to Michigan, there's still a lot of growth and a lot of work to do for both Donald Trump and Nikki Haley to put this GOP back together again.
Eric, do you think Nikki Haley is also staying in the race in case Trump is unable to stand as nominee because of his legal troubles? Because there are big Republican funders who are still giving her money for her race.
That's a really good question. And I suspect that's one of the reasons why we are seeing deep-pocketed Republican donors continue to fundraise for Nikki Haley. We know that Nikki Haley certainly has the money to go on, but here's where this race is all in effect going to end. By March 19th, Donald Trump should have the requisite number of delegates, 1,271 delegates, to actually be the nominee. And at that point, there's nothing that Nikki Haley can do to stop him unless she's going to try to find a way to actually wrest the nomination from Donald Trump at the actual convention.
Okay, so it looks like Trump will certainly secure this Republican nomination. But when it comes to this election in November, those Republicans who have voted for Nikki Haley, do you think they will still vote for Trump in the presidential election?
That's a really good question. And, you know, I think that question is a question that we have seen going back to 2020 and also going back to 2016 with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Would Bernie Sanders voters get behind a Hillary Clinton? And that's a question, a nagging question that we're seeing playing out right now. And it's also one of the reasons why Donald Trump wants Nikki Haley to get out of this race so he can actually begin the work of actually trying to coalesce and court her supporters. Now, one thing that we do know is that as Nikki Haley continues to fight on, there are people who are losing a bit of affection for Nikki Haley. Will that have some impact? We don't know. But still, 40% of voters in every single election is a big chunk of voters. And of course, Joe Biden is looking at those numbers, thinking, how is it that he can peel off not all 40% of those voters, but at least 3 to 5% to be just enough to actually get him over the finish line and get him to that magic number of 273 electoral votes.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be very interesting over the next few months to see how this plays out. Eric Ham in Columbia, South Carolina. Good to get your analysis. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.